Story time. So I have recently discovered about myself that talking things through and getting it out helps me to better process some of the things that go through my mind and that I deal with. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how important it is to manage stress and what happens when you don't, and how stress and inflammation can affect your body in ways that you never imagined. This week was by far one of the scariest weeks for me as my body began to shut down. I honestly didn't even know that I was stressed out until I went to the chiropractor. I started having issues walking, and I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. This happened to me earlier this month, but I didn't put two and two together until it happened to me again. Long story short, inflammation was in my back, and this caused me to not be able to hardly walk. So therefore, I had to go to start doing things that I thought was right. You know, I'm a vitamin type person, don't take medicine or what have you. But the pain began to progress more and more in my body to where I had to see a doctor, two doctors twice in one day. And one led me to a trip to the urgent care to where my breathing was affected. Anybody that knows me knows that, I pray. So the level of capacity that my lungs carry is really long. So when my breathing began to be affected, I knew that I had to do something about it. So as my breathing was affected, I was at home and I began to cough uncontrollably. In that coughing, I began to experience a shortness of breath, which is something I've never experienced before. As I began to experience a shortness of breath, I began to say, God, help me repeatedly. And Holy Spirit led me to do a breathing treatment that my daughter had. So I immediately go and find everything that I need to do the breathing treatment. And my lungs began to open back up, like my throat, began to open back up, and my breathing began to go back to normal. As I continue to get my breath back, I then proceed to go to urgent care because, again, this has never happened to me before, and this was super scary by far of all the things that I may have experienced in my life. So we get there. Long story short, I'm trying to compress this as much as I can, but long story short, the doctors confirms the stress. They confirm everything that, my chiropractor pretty much told me. So now I am placed in the bed to rest. I go constantly, but this is something that has caused me to slow down. As I'm laying in the bed, I begin to think, like, what are the things that, I could possibly be stressing about? My son says to me, he's like, Mom, you are stressed. I was like, I'm not stressed. But then I began to evaluate, and I think about all the things that I had on my plate. I'm running a business. I'm a coach. I'm a mother, and I'm a friend. I have my ministry. I'm doing all of these things. But one thing that I do know is if we don't take care of ourselves, we're no good to anyone else. So I began to rest. I got quiet. I didn't talk too much. I didn't take too many phone calls. I didn't even make mention to even my friend group, to those that didn't reach out. I didn't make mention that, what was going on. It's the holidays. I just kind of dealt with it, but I knew that I needed to make changes to my life and the things that I'm supposed to do. So as a business owner, managing and maintaining your stress is super important, because if you are not performing at your top tier, your business is going to lack in so many areas. We must be mindful of, the expectations, the goals, and the things that we want to reach. All of those things are perfectly fine. But when things don't go according as planned, we have to, regroup, reassess, and just continue to pushing forward. Honestly, one of the things that I have taken away from this is to just have faith and trust in God, and to know that if He made me a promise, He's going to do exactly what He said He's going to do. And that's what I'm going to stand on. It doesn't matter what the sales look like. Doesn't matter what the numbers look like, the likes, the comments, the shares. None of that does not matter to me anymore. Why? Because I have a promise for God, and it's going to be fulfilled at yet His appointed time. So I just encourage every entrepreneur to just keep going, keep pushing. I know it's cliche, but it truly is what we have to do when we have called to be visionaries, when we've called to be entrepreneurs, and we are called to be CEOs and business owners. Nothing comes overnight, but if we just keep pushing and stay consistent, everything is going to work out at God's appointed time.